Hey, it's Cody. It's also like January 3rd today. I'm a few days late doing my January video. 2023 was not a very good year for me, and apparently 2024 is starting right out with bullshit too, so sorry about that. So I thought I would talk about the decks and books that I plan on working with this month. You might notice that I have fewer books than I'm usually trying to work with, just because I feel like I've been over like planning for myself, and just shit just keeps happening, man. Do you ever just have a time in your life where it feels like every day is worse than the day before it was? Like that's how I've been feeling for the last couple months. Like it is literally just always something. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, moving on from that. The first book is if you watched my December books and decks video, you may remember that this The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood was on there. That's because I've been reading it, just not. Yeah. I'm probably, what, three-quarters of the way through. This is a reread of this anyway, because my next book that I'm going to be reading is actually the next one. Wow, this is large. This is The Thousand Eyes by A.K. Larkwood. This is just the sequel to the other one. Finally, I'm trying to start getting into, like, more witchcrafty kind of books. Okay. I struggle with January being, like, the beginning of the new year. First of all, the idea of a new year is really weird to me. Like, it's just one day after the next, so that's a weird thing for me. But having it be in the middle of winter, like, somebody just made that up. Like, I don't care who it was. I don't care how long ago it was. Somebody made this shit up, and it does not make any sense. So I'm not ever a resolution person. Um, if I have like a thing that I want to start working on, I will just pick whatever day that is that I thought of it and say that I want to start working on it. Like, I don't know. I'm not that kind of person. But I do want to start working a little bit more with some witchcrafty books. The reason that I really haven't been reading many lately is actually probably a whole nother video, because it's yeah. Okay. Anyway, this is Bones and Honey, a heathen prayer book by Danielle Dulski. Now, you may, if you've watched some of my other videos, you probably know that I have a problem with every single Danielle Dulski book that I have ever bought. But you know what? I keep getting them. Like, I literally wait until these bitches come out and I buy them every single time. And then I end up complaining about it. Like, I really like Danielle Dulski's ideas. I think she has really good ideas. I love, like, chapter titles and headings. And there will just be, like, these wonderful little gems in there. But for the most part, like, I'm trying not to be a dickhead, but a lot of the writing is just really insufferable. It's just these long run-on sentences that are trying to cram way too much in there. It's really just overly worried about being, like, poetic. I kind of have more hope for this book just because it is sort of more, like, story, like, fairy tale kind of writing, which I think is going to be a lot easier for me to stomach. I don't know, man. There's something that I feel like I want to like about these books. There's something good about them. Nobody else is really quite touching subjects and exploring topics quite the same way that Danielle Dulski is. It's just the writing style is too much. It's toned down a bit since, like, some of her first things, but I'm always worried. I'm always torn. I would stand there in the bookstore and debate for fucking 10 minutes like a weird fuck while everyone's staring at me if I really want to buy this book or not. Like, yeah, I always do. I always buy her books. I'm really hoping that this one's going to be, like, the right one. I don't Okay. Those were my books. All right, so decks I have 1, 2, 3. I only have 5? Okay. All right, so the first deck, this is the Rain Shadow Tarot by Claire Mack. Yeah, I'm late to this party. I know this deck has been out for a while. I have spent years going back and forth between if I want. She has 2 Oracle decks, Faceted Garden and the Illuminated Earth, I think, is the other one. And there are, like, subtle differences between them, and I feel like, honestly, you could just get both of them. Like, they don't really seem to have that much overlap. I don't know. I really love her art style. And I went back and forth, and then the tarot deck came out, and it was on Kickstarter, I believe, and I was not in a position where I could back it right then. So I was able finally to get this, I don't know, November maybe or something. And I've been working with it on and off in December, and I actually really like it. So I plan on continuing to do that through the month of January. I've been doing my daily draws with it. It's just something about it's very earthy, and it feels really witchy to me. Like, something about this just feels right. I don't know. Like, there are decks that I can read with, but they don't necessarily have like this specific witchy feeling that I'm looking for. And I'm saying witchy feeling as if you guys know what I mean by that. Like, I'm sure everybody's witchy feeling is different, hence why like decks are different. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just rambling at this point. But I do really like this deck. I think it's super cool. It's like, it's collage art, but like I believe that Claire Mack has actually like made a lot of the art herself. Like, this was, I don't know, some Renaissance painting or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I love the colors. I love how they're kind of like, I don't know. Scratched up sounds like a stupid ass way to explain it, but that's kind of what it is. And even like, you might say that these cards are pippish, or like, I think, God, who is it? Some other tarot YouTube person. So it's like pips with feeling or something. Like the Two of Swords and it being, you know, both the blades coming off of like basically a non-existent handle. Like, that's such a good way, I think, to depict what the Two of Swords is about. Like, I don't know if I would call this a pip, you know? I don't know. But no, I've really been enjoying working with this deck. I did draw a card of the year around this time, around fucking the end of December, the beginning of January. I do a like year ahead reading just so it lines up with the months. But like, in my heart, this is not a new year. It's still just fucking winter, okay? So this, yeah. Definitely working with this. I don't know if you can see. I didn't like do a walkthrough or anything of this deck. I figure I'll do a review of it after I've worked with it for a while. I don't know if you can actually tell, but this has like edging. It's like a very grayish silver. If you can get the light right, you can tell. Apparently it's not going to work like that, but yes. Okay, so I actually have gotten some decks during December that I'm really going to be diving into this month, because not only is there, you know, the winter solstice, Yule, Christmas, my birthday is also in the month of December, so this tends to be the time that shit like shows up for me. Okay, the first deck that I'm almost embarrassed to admit that I'm just now getting this deck is the Murder of Crows Tarot. For some reason, I thought this had been out longer. I looked at it, it showed the copyright was 2021. Is that real? I don't know why I felt like this deck has been out for so long, and I was wishy-washy on it. I'd see people be like, oh my god, I love this deck, but then part of me is like, would I really use that? Or like, I don't know. I like horror, but what I don't like is when it's like attached to a movie or something. Like, I don't want like movie monsters or some shit. Like, I don't know. I'm not into that, but I do like the horror elements. So, sorry, these are glossy and I can't control the sun. But I have been loving working with this deck. Like, I haven't like worked with it, but I've drawn a card here or there, and it seems really accurate. I mean, maybe a little bit cruel, but that's kind of what I'm looking for in a tarot deck. Like, I just want it to tell me, regardless of if it's going to hurt my feelings. I don't know, the sweet saccharine sort of decks, just, they don't help me in any way. I don't know. I think this deck is so cool. It's got, like, the Plague Doctor kind of shit. I absolutely love crows. It's black and white. Okay, I think I've said before that I avoid black and white decks, ultimately, because I feel like there's a lot of them, and I don't want to end up getting one that's just meh, and then, like, I don't want to end up with a bunch of just black and white decks, if that makes sense. I feel like decks that are only black and white in my collection, I want them to be special. I want them to really be something. So I actually had not gotten any of those until I got Tarot of the Abyss, which I actually think I picked up a used copy the beginning of 2023. Like, I have not had it very long. it just really has something special going on. So I kind of went back and forth on this deck. Do I want another black and white deck? Like, is it gonna like take away or something from the fact that I have the Tarot of the Abyss? Really, it doesn't. Like, the art style is so different. The overall energy of this is just so far removed from what the Tarot of the Abyss is doing that these really have no similarities other than, I guess, their color palettes. I think that Tarot of the Abyss, which I probably should have grabbed if I didn't realize how much I was going to be talking about it, but is more like pen and ink, and this is very, I don't know, a lot of like smudginess and, you know, I don't know. Oh my god, look at that ivy. I'm fucking obsessed with ivy. I don't even care if it's like an invasive species, that's fine. I think this is my least favorite card in here. Like, I just don't like it. It's got some fucking Joker energy ass bullshit. I like the people in here. Like, you can see the women, but the men always have on, like, well, I don't know if it's always, but for the most part have on, like, the masks. Something is unsettling. It almost reminds me of, like, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And I mean the books. I don't ever mean the movie. So yeah, I'm excited to work with this. I'm not sure how much play this is really going to get this month, just because, well, I don't know. I think it depends on my mood, honestly. But it really could be a good thing for, you know, September, October, maybe even November kind of stuff. But I got it in December, so, I mean, it's not going anywhere. Unless I die this year before next October. I don't know why I just said that, but okay. So another deck that was gifted to me is the Magical Botanical Oracle. This is another one of those decks that I kept going back and forth on. I like that it has almost like this grimoire sort of like vibe to it. I think that's really cool. I was not aware that this was only 33 cards. Like, that is fucking absurd. I'm sorry. The 44 card Oracle decks are bad enough that Hay House is shitting out fucking every other week. But this was really disappointing to me. This is low scarabée. Well, okay. I say that as if I wasn't, well, I don't know what that is. I wasn't horrified by Journey of the Lost Soul or whatever that was also by Low Scarabeo with like repeated artwork and typos physically on the cards. But it still was like, I don't think it was only 33 cards, but we'll see how much play this one gets this month. Again, I'm excited because it's new, but ultimately, I'm not sure the plantiness of it is like what I'm going to be into in the middle of winter. Like, the reason I kept going back and forth on this, I like the artwork and I think it's really cool, but I don't like when there's like writing it within the artwork of cards. Like, that's just a major thing that I try and avoid because it feels like some comic book shit or something. Also, I will say it's kind of weird. I had not watched a walkthrough of this because I wasn't sure if I was even going to get it. There's like, I think there's 2 cards that are like, nope, there's 3. Mostly black. I wish there had been more. I guess that's my other complaint. So I have pulled a few cards from this. The guidebook is pretty good. It's pretty comprehensive. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to end up really being a favorite of mine or if it's something I'm going to eventually pass along. In the spring, it might really be something that I'm more into. Like, this was on the cover. I really like this. It feels like I'm looking at, like, an old secret, you know, grimoire and somebody's notes on working with plant spirits and shit. I love the bees pulling the chariot. It needed more cards, I think, is still my ultimate bitch about it. And you know what? The more cards could have had black backgrounds. That's what. I love dragons. I'm still on the hunt for, like, the perfect dragon deck, and I'm starting to just feel like it doesn't exist. Like, I guess I could just go through this whole thing if it's only fucking 33 cards, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have already seen this. The artwork is kind of like, I don't want to say it's all over the place necessarily. Like, this gives me a very different feeling than, like, this. I don't know. Some of the cards have very detailed line work. Some of them are a lot simpler. If I can, like this one. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. We shall see how much play it actually ends up getting for the month of January. But, you know, sometimes you just got to work with the deck a little bit to see where it seems like it's actually going to fit into your practice, if it does at all. Like, just because I pass on a deck doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. Like, some of them, yeah, get that shit out of here. But some of them it just didn't really slot into my practice somewhere, or it will be like, this is really similar to something that I already have that I like better, you know? I don't know. Okay, we'll just do this one first. Also, The Witch Sister Tarot by Julia Jeffrey. I did a, like, walkthrough comparison of this deck. Oh my god, why can't I stop hitting this? With the other deck illustrated by Julia Jeffrey, which is, I can't remember for some reason. Oh, Tarot of the Hidden Realm. So, I am seeing people loving this deck, and I'm seeing people hating this deck, and I feel like it's a very, it might be really polarizing. Well, not necessarily, like, okay, I don't mean polarizing as in, like, people are going to argue over it, but I think that it evokes strong feelings, and that people probably aren't going to be meh about this deck very often. They're either going to love it, or they're going to hate it. And I feel like Tarot of the Hidden Realm was similar. Whereas it was featured a lot of younger characters, and they all seem to sort of be fae. This one, I believe we're just talking about, like, Scotland and Scottish witches and stuff. God, the sun. But it's got a lot of, you know, older figures in here. And I really actually like this deck a lot better. For some reason, I was kind of expecting it to feel similar to Tarot of the Hidden Realm. It actually doesn't. Love this card. This deck, like, I ordered it months ago, and I pre-ordered it, and it was supposed to come out in December, and then I don't know if so many people ordered it, or if there's some kind of problem with production or shipping or something. And then I got a notification that it actually was not going to even be shipping out until January. And I didn't, like, check. I was like, oh, well, it will let me know when it ships out. Well, it never shipped out. Well, okay, it did ship out, but it didn't notify me until one morning. I got a notification with a photo of, like, the package weirdly sitting in the dark on my stairs. Like, it was before the sun had come up that my package had been delivered. I'm like, what the fuck? So it was this. I don't know why. Like, it appeared under strange circumstances, and I'm not sure what exactly that means. Like, I feel like everything that has to do with this deck is intentional. Like, its strange arrival to my house feels significant. Yeah, I have been working with this deck so much since I got it. Like, to me, it feels like a rush of power every time I, like, open the box. Which is, one of those annoying Llewellyn boxes. So, you know. Oh no, this is, okay, if you didn't watch my, comparison video, I don't know if you've seen the fucking Magician card in Tarot of the Hidden Realm. It is the hands down, it's in the top 3 worst Magician cards I have ever fucking seen. But you know what? This Sun, I fucking hate this card. Like, I'm not normally a fan of Sun cards to begin with. Like, I feel like they're very rarely depicted in a way that feels like the sun to me, and also just a way that's not horrible. Like, this is fucking awful. That's the Magician of this deck to me. So, like, we're seeing here the 6 of trees. The trees are wands. Suits have been renamed. Most of the majors have been renamed in this deck. And it really is more meant to be read numerologically than, like, by, you know, RWS or, like, a Thoth kind of system. So usually I just ignore shit like that and read it. with RWS because I'm a lazy ass bitch like that. But this one, it doesn't line up right if you don't. And these cards just feel so powerful to me. Sorry, I'm just like spitting. I don't even know where it just went. They feel really powerful to me. And the Lord of the Forest card, who is actually the devil, I have gotten this, drawn this card. It's a jumper, or it's the first card I draw, or it's on the bottom of the deck. Every reading that I've tried to do. So I suspect, okay, I have like some sort of spirit guide who's like a man with antlers, and he looks different a lot. Like, if I have a dream, the only thing he needs to be is a man with antlers. So I don't know if he's asking. Like, sometimes I dedicate a deck to like a spirit specifically to speak to me. Or like so that it can speak to me easily, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a nice solid way to get some pretty direct guidance from them, I found. And I think that he wants this one, so I've already said yes, he can have it, so I don't know why it keeps on showing up. I said okay. Alright, so let me put this back. I need to make, I need to like crochet a bag or something for this because this is pissing me off. Also, I do have to say, I think aside from the sun card, my other complaint is, why are these backs pink? Like, when I saw the artwork for the back, for some reason, I don't know if I was just imagining it was going to be more tan like this, or my brain like color corrected it because it thought the lighting was weird or something like that. One golden white versus black and blue dress or whatever. I don't know. Okay, the last deck that I wanted to talk about was this. This is the Sacred Nature Oracle. It's by Holly Wilmoth. So this deck, if you haven't seen it, I wouldn't blame you, because this apparently wasn't... Oh my god, it's so hard to open. Fuck this box. This deck was apparently indie. It might have been a Kickstarter or something. I don't know. I didn't see it when that was happening. But this is actually the mass market edition. It's published by a... Beyond Words, which I don't have any other decks by that. I've never seen that. So this is actually a 62 card deck. The cards are fucking massive, but this deck has just a weirdness that I really, really appreciate. So they're all plants. There's a Japanese sweet colt's foot in it. We have a little like drawing of the plant down here, and then these like sepia toned photos of people posing with the plants on them. And I think it's just so interesting. Jasmine is beauty, and she's got them on her face. I think something about this deck feels very quiet and solid. And like, I don't know. This might be my favorite like plant-based deck that I have. Well, okay. Oracle deck. I really still love the... oh my god, Herb Crafter's Tarot too. But this one just really has something special about it. Something about it feels unsettling, and I don't feel like that was intended. But it just kind of does. If you'll notice, was that like... oh, I guess that's in the picture. I was like, is that scratches on the card or what? Must be some sort of framework for the leaves. This deck actually has quite a bit of like masculine energy with you know, men being pictured with the cards too, and I feel like that's rare for especially like a plant ally sort of deck. They kind of get left out of it a lot. So I think this deck is really cool. I'm excited to work with this. I do wish that the cards were a little bit smaller. Like, the photos are beautiful, and like the realness of a human, like we're not, you know, photoshopping skin textures or things like that. And this deck feels so grounded. It feels very human. It feels just very earthy. I'm not going to go through this whole deck. I mean, I guess I could if people want to see an entire flip through this. I'm not going to, just because 62 cards is kind of a lot, but like to sit here and look through when they're really very, very much like, there's a lot of similarities between the cards, you know what I mean? They're all the same tone. They're all photographs of people, you know, sort of covered in the plants. So I don't want to get too crazy flipping through all of this. But I'm really excited to work with this. Like, even somehow the color palette makes me feel like this might even be like an appropriate wintry sort of deck. I don't feel like I need to wait for the plant life around me to be alive. It's got a pretty good guidebook, so. Anyway, those were my decks. Thanks for watching. Bye.